Hi there, my name's Alana and today I'm so excited to be playing with the brand new Pat McGrath Huetopian Dreams. That's her Mothership 9 palette. Now I know I'm a little bit late to filming this video, but it's been a crazy month at work for me. So I'm sitting down today, I'm filming it, I played with it, and oh my goodness, you guys, I'm blown away. I mean, I shouldn't be blown away because Pat McGrath, as we know, has an incredible formula, incredible, beautiful products, but like, man, guys, I am just completely blown away. As I was playing with this palette, I was doing my eyeshadow look, and I was so inspired. Like, there were so many different directions I wanted to go, and it's honestly, for me, been a while since I've felt that excited with a palette. So obviously this is gonna be a very critical negative review if you can't already tell. Anyway, so for today's video, we are going to do my makeup. We're gonna do this eye look that I did using this palette, and I am like obsessed. And then we're gonna do some swatches, and then after that, we're gonna chat a little bit about the palette, my thoughts, my recommendations, shades that really stand out to me, but like, I wonder how this video is gonna go. So anyways, let's do my makeup. So we are gonna start by opening up this palette. Normally with palettes, I don't keep outer packaging, but I do make an exception for Pat McGrath. So one thing, I also wouldn't recommend getting rid of the packaging because all the shades are on the back there and not here where it's pure gold. Okay, so I'm gonna be starting with my Rephr 1 brush. I'm gonna be using this sort of pearly shade here. It's called Skin Show Nude Ecstasy. And I'm gonna be placing that kind of all over just the whole thing, just my whole eye. Now, just so you do know, I do have MAC Paint Pot and Painterly as my base, as my primer today. I typically use that as my shadow base. So we're just gonna put some of that beautiful pearlescent everywhere we go. Now today is exciting because I'm leaving the house. So I'm actually going to my first PR event in person since the pandemic was called, which is crazy. So I'm gonna be doing a little sort of TikTok vlog on that. Definitely stay tuned. Okay, so now I'm using my Liz Wautier definition brush, and I'm gonna go in with this beautiful, beautiful matte dusty purple. That shade is called Secret Eden. And I do like to put that also on my lid just to provide a little bit more color there. I am liking the way this is building up. I'm gonna do just a touch more in the crease. I'm now gonna go in with Extreme Plume Noir in my outer crease. Just to get a touch more. So I think the easiest thing with this look would be to finish off over here and sort of complete that quad. But this shade up here, I just swatched on my finger. It's really calling to me. So it's called Blitz Sextreme. Okay, I think I'm gonna use my finger on this one and then I'll blend it in with a brush. Ooh, and the reason I wanted to use this one is it has just such a pretty shift to it. Thought I'd go for something a little different today since I don't have to be work appropriate and I am going to a beauty blogger event. So I feel like if anyone's gonna appreciate some fun eyeshadow, it is PR people. Okay, so I'm gonna go back in with that Liz Wautier brush that we were using earlier just to kind of blend in those edges. And just to complete under the eye, I'm gonna go back in with that deeper matte shade. Okay, so this is the look. I'm gonna pop on some mascara and eyeliner and lipstick. We're gonna come back and talk about it. We're gonna take a look at the swatches, but I'm just so excited to keep playing with this palette because like, as I was doing my makeup, I could just see so many different directions for the look. And it's not often that I feel that inspired by a palette. You know, I've got tons of eyeshadow palettes. Sometimes it just almost feels just automatic, but for this one, I don't know how to describe it, but opening it up really excited me, and I just want to keep playing, but I have to go to an event. So this is like, I'm almost a little bit sad that I have to go. Okay, so let's do my mascara and eyeliner and then we'll talk some more. So while I was editing this video, the clip where I gave you all of my opinions on the palette was totally corrupted. Couldn't export the video, couldn't save. So on my computer, as of right now, I have this half-done video that I'm super proud of, and I love the lighting and the look and everything I was saying, but I don't have a final opinion. So I made an executive decision, which I can do because this is my channel and I'm the director, producer, editor, star, social media manager, all of it for myself. But what I decided to do was film a second look with this palette, and then using the second look, I'm gonna share my thoughts that I previously shared. I'm just gonna put it all together. So anyways, you guys are getting a second look in this palette. I'm actually going to a family member's bridal shower today. So I took a look at the palette, and I do think I can get something a little bit softer and prettier and kind of just romantic daytime. I've been mostly hanging with my mom and my aunt. So anyways, let's get into look number 2. So we're gonna start off with that same sort of pearly shimmery shade all over the lid. I love using shades like this as my base. Now the one thing I do want to note, I am wearing MAC Paint Pot and Painterly as my base. The other thing I actually wanted to note is that if this had been an intentional second look, I would have dipped into a totally other side of the palette, but it's not really an intentional other look. So we're gonna try to do something that meets in the middle between a look that I can wear to a family member's bridal shower, but also a look that shows you some different shadows. So I think what we're gonna try, I have my ref for 27, we're gonna try using this brighter pink matte shade, which we didn't use before. We're gonna try using that as our transition. I'm just like tapping this off so it can be just really, really light. This is a very bright pink, but it's very pretty. Now, since the rest of my look is pretty neutral, I'm gonna go in with that same matte that we used before, right down here, that more dusty rose color. And I don't mind that I'm using the same brush because it's gonna kind of help blend the two colors together. And I'm gonna put that in my crease. I'm hoping that'll just kind of cool this down a little bit. I'm gonna use that shade as well under my lash line. And then what I'm actually gonna do, I'm gonna take that matte sort of plummy rose down here. I'm gonna put it all over my lid. I just finger swatched one of the Blitz Astrals, and I think it's really pretty. I haven't used that formula from her a ton, so I'm gonna wear that, but I just wanted to have a little bit more color on our base. But instead, I'm gonna use a flat shader brush to just kind of help build that up. Now, using my finger, I'm gonna use this Blitz Astral. Up here, it's the lighter one. And I'm just going to tap that again all over my lid. That is quite the sparkle. Oh, wow. And then I'm gonna use my rougher brush to just sort of blend that a little bit, just kind of blend everything in. And I've got some fallout. I have some glitter kind of all over my face, so I'm just gonna use this brush to... Okay, I'm gonna finish this look off with some mascara and eyeliner, and then we're actually gonna talk about this palette, and fingers crossed that the clip turns out well.
For our swatches, we're going to be starting on the top row of the palette. First, we have Skin Show Nude Ecstasy, followed by Secret Eden, Bronze Desire, Bronze Solaris 005, and Astral Venusian Orchid. Moving on to the bottom row of this palette, we have Extreme Plum Noir, Cosmic Bloom, Shockwave, Blitz Sextreme, and Astral Amethyst Nude.
Okay, so we've tried the makeup on twice. You've seen two different looks using this absolutely beautiful palette. And while the second look wasn't intentional when I designed this video, I don't think it's such a bad thing that I had a chance to try some more shades. So off the bat, I mean, this is a beautiful palette. What I find really interesting is if you look at the palette like this, you have a really beautiful quad. Like if she sold that as a quad, I'd buy it. Here you've got sort of 6 pans, you've got that brighter sort of flamingo pink, which I am wearing right now. Definitely wanted to tone that down for today's look. You extend it here a little bit more and you've got some sort of metallics, but then you bring in these two sort of purpley, like I want to call them galaxy shades. These are her Blitz Astrals, and they are basically a really nice glitter top coat. Now, I haven't actually used her Blitz Astrals a lot. One thing you may kind of know about me, or may get to know about me if you subscribe to my channel, is that I'm all about everyday, wearable, pretty neutral. I mean, like sometimes I like push the neutral boundaries, like with this look. Like I think this is, I mean, it's still neutral. Like, look, I'm going to a bridal shower, but I don't really typically reach for those shadows. I know that she's known for them. I know that they're iconic. I'm wearing one today. And a couple of things. Normally, because I tend to go for such a kind of like a pretty neutral look, I'm actually generally not too worried about fallout. So I do my foundation first. The other thing is that when I'm filming on YouTube, if I'm just focusing on the eyes, I'm gonna do the rest of my makeup and then just put on the eyeshadow and then, you know, talk about my video. So there was some glitter fallout. There was a little bit of, is a little bit of glitter all over my face. I did use a setting powder to just kind of help move it along. So it's pretty much gone. Like, look, like I'm gonna go to my event like this, like I don't really care. But just as an FYI, one, maybe don't experiment with the new glitter top coat before you go to like a family member's bridal shower. That's like my first tip. But more so with those shadows. They are super, super pretty, very iridescent, and there's not a lot to their base. So I would also recommend using one of the other shadows in your look as the base on your lid, and then truly just using your finger and using it like a top coat. Now, across the board, this is an absolutely beautiful palette. I know that some people were disappointed because when they saw this packaging, I think they were thinking more cotton candy, tie-dye vibes, really playing more into the rainbow hues that you see in the crown. It's not surprising that Pat made a pink palette. I mean, her most iconic palettes are of course Divine Rose and Divine Rose 2. And I really kind of feel like this has a lot of Divine Rose going on over here, but then it brings in some other shadows. Across the board, I think this is a really, really wearable palette, which kind of surprised me because when I first opened it up, I was like, that's a lot, you know, with the gold and the purple and the shimmer. But I really find like if I were to be using this palette every day, I would basically stick to these three here and these two here. But it's nice that there's sort of this other fun half of the palette. Speaking of which, over here, I love that the palette includes one of those sort of pearly shimmery shades. That's how I like to start off all of my looks. So I really like it when a palette has that. I know a lot of people say like, oh, every palette has that. Yeah, well, every palette has it for a reason. It's because it's useful. And my view on palettes is I want everything I need to be in the palette. I don't want to be reaching for one palette for my crease and one palette for my transition. And look, if you enjoy that, that's wonderful. But for me, when I'm doing my makeup, if I'm using a palette, I want everything I need in one place. And so this palette definitely gives me that, that deeper sort of matte brown, very, very pretty, really builds up in the crease. So look, across the board with Pat shadows, they're easy to build up. You can get a variety of intensities. And actually it's because of that confidence that I wasn't too worried about using this watermelon flamingo shade in my crease, because I knew that if I went in with a light hand, I'd make it work. So anyways, my final thoughts, this is a beautiful palette. Of course, her palettes are pretty pricey. When I purchased this, I purchased it directly from her website, and I was able to save 10% using whatever the code at the time was. I find that she, on a new launch, basically always has a code. So if you're not already subscribed to her email list, subscribe, because like, who doesn't want to save money, especially the price of these palettes. They do retail for $135 US and $170 Canadian. The other thing I would recommend, Pat does a wonderful job with her Black Friday deals, and typically her most recent palette isn't included, but you never know. So if this palette has caught your eye, but you don't desperately need it this minute, which you probably don't, I think it wouldn't hurt to wait until Black Friday just to see if there's a deal. You know, I've seen like, I want to say shoes, there's like 25 or 30% off, which on the price of one of these makes a difference. So anyways, across the board, a beautiful, beautiful palette. I'm glad I added it to my collection. It does feel very springtime to me, so I find it kind of odd that it was released sort of end of summer, early fall, but you know what? Who am I to question Pat, okay? It is a beautiful, beautiful palette. The metallic shimmers, those are my favorite kind of shadows just across the board from anyone. And I love them, and I just want to keep playing with this palette. It's been a long time since I've actually found a palette that excites me this much, and that when I look at the palette, I see so many different looks that I could create and so many different looks that feel like me. So you know what? It's been a while since I've been that excited about a palette, and I think it's super, super pretty. So anyways, those are my thoughts. That's my review. That's the 2 looks, even though I didn't necessarily mean for that to happen, but you can thank my computer or camera or card or reader. I don't really know whose fault it is, but you can thank somebody else in the technological world for my video not being up a week ago, because that was going to be this week's upload, so, or last week's upload, and now it's this week's. Anyways, if you haven't already, please subscribe. Fall and holiday makeup is some of my favorite content to produce. I'm so excited about the next kind of couple of months on my channel. We talk about Pat McGrath, Charlotte Tilbury, Natasha Denona, luxury handbags, Kate Spade, makeup. We talk about all of that kind of stuff. So if that interests you, then I'd love to have you join our little YouTube family. See you soon. Bye. Mwah.